not afraid to say this on a podcast. I am banned from a theater in New York. There is a theater in Brooklyn that has banned me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Journey, where we gather stories of resilience, growth, and self discovery. Our guest for today is Joe Staton. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Dorothea. Happy to be here.
Yes, happy to have you here. Oh my goodness. So, for our listeners and viewers for today, can you state your name, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you currently do, and what shaped who you are today? I know those are a lot of questions.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. So my name is Joe Staton. I'm an actor, producer, and occasionally director. I don't really like directing, but I'll do it if I have to. Also, I guess a writer now because I'm writing my first play too. So yeah, lots of hats. I'm originally from England. I left England when I was 6 years old. I lived in France and Spain for most of my childhood. And then I moved to New York in 2016, just in time for President Trump. Oh God, fun times. And now I'm a working actor living in New York City. I'm a member of a Shakespeare company over here. I do a lot of work with helping other immigrant actors get the stuff they need to stay in the States. I mean, my whole life has shaped me to who I am. I credit my mum a lot for shaping me who I am. Like she's always sort of guided me and supported me, and I get a lot of my same viewpoints from her.
I know, I love your mom too.
Everyone loves my mum. Everyone loves my mum. And also, I think just the experience of growing up in different countries, I think has really like shaped who I am.
I know, how many countries is that?
Yeah, so England, France, Spain, and America.
Wow. Can you speak all languages?
So, oh God, now this gets really embarrassing. I can speak fluent French. When I was 6 years old, I was in a French school where you weren't allowed to speak English. You had to speak French. So
Oh,
they
really?
were patient with me when I started as a 6 year old, but within 10 months, I was speaking fluent French because I had no other choice. Spain was a little bit different. Spain is not like that. When you move to Spain, you'll find there's a very big British community already over there. First, I went to a European school, which was a very special school. I think there's like 12 of them in the world, where purpose is to diversify and make it all European. And you could be placed in the English group, or you may be placed in the German group or the French group, yada, yada, yada. I was placed in the English group with French as a second language. And then I moved from that school to a private British school. So I did do lessons in Spanish. I think our music classes were all in Spanish, and sports classes, PE classes were all in Spanish. But everything else was either in English or French. So my Spanish isn't as great as my French can be. I can hold a conversation. I know how to ask for things if I need to in Spanish.
I mean, I feel like that's enough. As long as like you understand the language, you can understand if people are trying to sell you or not. Like,
Yes,
that's good enough.
definitely.
I feel like you've lived so many different lives then, having been, in so many different countries. I'm curious, like, what are some challenges that you faced and how did you overcome them?
Oh gosh, I've faced many, many, many challenges throughout my life. I remember when I was 6 years old, moving to France. Like that was, I don't want to say traumatic. Traumatic is probably not the right word, but being uplifted and like taken away from your whole like world that you have sort of become familiar with as a 6 year old, and then going somewhere completely different, completely new, where everyone is speaking something that you don't understand and everything. I remember like actually being very upset when I first moved to France and moving to this strange country because I also loved my hometown in England. I really loved it there. So it was very like traumatic in that sense, I suppose. But I think what that's taught me, because ever since then I've moved around consistently, and I think that really like made me stronger in the sense of I am able to just uplift and go somewhere new without any like problems there. I remember when I first went to drama school, because I went to drama school in both London and the UK. I went to drama school suddenly surrounded by like loads of English people who were technically from the same country I was, but I still felt kind of foreign. And it was like so fascinating to me to meet people my age who had never been on a plane before, or like were so like upset about moving like like from one part of the same country to the other when they can go home every weekend, you know, if they want to. So I think that experience from childhood has really like made me sort of tough and adaptable to change in all sorts of things.
I know that you wear many hats and they're all artistic. And I guess what was the moment in your life that made you go like, ah, yes, I am going to be an artist. This is what I want to do. Like, was there like a life-changing moment, or did it happen just gradually?
The joke that I always like to make about this is I never stood a chance. This was always going to happen. There was no like hope for me of doing anything else. My whole family is creative in some sense or the other. My aunt is a costume person. She's like a seamstress. She makes costumes. She did Mamma Mia on the West End. She's done some really cool stuff. And then my mother was a dance teacher, and she also had a whole career in face painting as well. So I was brought up among lots of like storytellers. I was brought up among lots of colors. I was, brought up in that sort of environment. So I remember my mum taking me to see a production of Pinocchio when I was like 6 years old. I remember watching Pinocchio at the age of like 6 and just being like, I want to do that. And my mum was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you're going to do. And then she put me into like acting classes, like when I was like 10 years old, like doing improv and everything. And then I discovered Shakespeare in school, and suddenly like everything just sort of fit and clicked and made sense. And I just knew that was the route I was going to go down. I became interested in history at an early age as well. I became interested in stories, and I still am to this day. So I just never stood a chance. That was always how I was going to go down. I was never good at science or maths or anything like that. This was the one route I had to do, and fortunately I was given the support I needed and encouraged and nurtured, and yeah.
Wonderful. Did you ever get to play Pinocchio?
No.
Oh.
No, I got to play Pinocchio. I got to play Peter Pan, and that was great. As a child, I loved playing Peter Pan. That was awesome.
Nice. I would love to see. Do you have a recording of you playing Peter Pan?
No, I don't think so. I might have a picture somewhere. I'll see if I can find a picture for you.
Okay. That would be great. I would love to see it. Is there an accomplishment that you're most proud of, or what are you most proud of in your life so far?
Most proud of is a difficult thing to say. I'm proud of a lot of things. I think the thing that I'm probably most proud of right now is that I'm still going, if that makes any sense. This industry is hard. This industry is difficult. This industry like takes a toll on you mentally, and there have been so many times throughout my life. I'm 31 now, and I can count so many times from the journey from like 19 years old being in drama school up until now, where I've had the thought of maybe I should just quit. Maybe this is not for me. Maybe this is a bad idea. My life is so hard. My life is only going to get harder. And I haven't succumbed to those thoughts. Those thoughts haven't beaten me. I've consistently like kept going. And because I've consistently kept going, I've enjoyed so many new experiences, and I've met so many awesome new people. And I'm very, very like grateful for the things that are still happening in my life. And I'm aware that if I had quit, then none of that would have happened. I'm proud of myself for staying consistent there.
And what keeps you going, if I may ask?
Madness. Madness. Total madness. I joke about that, but I think there is something to that. I think all artists have to be a little bit mad in order to keep doing this. I had a teacher once who told me, if you don't wake up in the night in a cold sweat, panicking, thinking, oh my God, where is my life going? Then you're not doing this right. So I think I'm definitely doing this right. But also, just can't imagine myself doing anything else. I just can't. And I've tried. I genuinely have tried to imagine this. I've genuinely like considered different pathways. You know, I've thought of going to college to like look at other interests that I have. And every time that I like click on the website and like look at like another way to go, I just have this like feeling in the pit of my stomach, and my body like starts to change, and I just think, no, 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 this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And you know, and I listen to that. I trust my instincts. So yeah.
No, I love that. I think one of the reasons why I gravitated towards you was because, like, oh my goodness, look at this person who's able to like produce so many shows, in so many shows, and like just keep going and keeping busy in such a hard industry. And I'm just like, and I was like, this person is really quite mad in the best of ways because like it's like even when it is hard, I see you and you're just like, no, we're gonna keep doing this, we're gonna keep going and we're gonna thrive. And I feel like you're one person, like from me, who's looking at how you operate, it's like this person is like doing it all, thriving even. I,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
That's very kind of you to say, but you know, you should give yourself some credit too, because you're wonderful too, and you do such great work. And I also gravitated towards you, Dorothea, because I think your work is awesome too.
I know, like we're such great people.
We are. We're wonderful.
We do know that you're passionate towards being creative, towards acting and whatnot. And how has the journey of being an artist and a performer shaped your journey? Like, I guess in a way, like, how has it been good to you? Has it been bad to you? Has it helped you grow?
Oh, I love the bluntness of that question. That's great. I think, you know, it's been a mix. It's been a mix of good to me. It's been a mix of bad to me. I think that's like anything in life. I think anything you do in life is probably going to be a healthy mix. There's definitely been some hard times where I've, you know, lost all hope and, you know, stayed in bed all day because I've thought, oh, this is just pointless. But what I've noticed about that is that and what's very comforting in those moments is those moments never last. Those moments never last. You can always you can just you go through it and then it ends. So and then you're back at it again. So that's always something I'm that helps me get through those days. But in terms of how it's shaped me, I mean, it's, you know, it's been everything. My whole life has been centered around this mission. Some might say I'm obsessed. It might be a little obsessed, I don't know, but you know, it's just a core part of who I am. So in terms of how it shaped me, yeah, most good things about me are probably shaped by it, and most bad things about me are probably shaped by it too. I don't know. I need to talk to a therapist and see.
There's a beauty of like accepting both the good and the bad in something that we love. And it just, for me, makes me feel alive as well. And like, this is who I am because of, all of those days where like, oh no, I feel like I've failed because I haven't been getting any bookings. But also like when you're on stage and you have a beautiful role and like it just falls into place.
Absolutely. And you know, it's so interesting to put it into perspective as well when you talk to other actors and everything. Like I was talking to an actor friend of mine recently, and I was saying, you know, oh man, like all these people on Instagram who are like booking all these film roles and everything, like I'm so jealous. I mean, I'm so happy for them, but I'm so jealous. And my friend turned around and said, Joe, I'm jealous of you. I went, what do you mean? And he went, well, look at how much you're working. And like, I go on to like websites for theater companies. I see your face up there and everything. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that's true. So, you know, it's always interesting to put it into perspective in that
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. But with everything, what are some valuable lessons you've you take away?
You make all sorts of lessons along the road, and I think one lesson probably is, you know, if this is really for you, if this is really what you want to do, if this is really who you want to be, then persevere through the tough times, persevere through the hard times. This career is like a roller coaster, you know. It will go up, it will go down, it will go up, it will go down. On the flip side of that, don't do that. If you don't persevere, that's okay too. It's okay to sort of say, you know what, I gave it a go, I did a good try, and I want to try and do something else. There was a period in my life when I was a lot younger, but I didn't understand that thinking at all. I didn't understand that. I had lots of friends who had like been to drama school, paid all that money to go to drama school, and had then like gone off and become doctors or something like that. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, why did you just give up? Why? And you know, it took me a while to be like, you know what, actually I respect those people a lot because they understood themselves. So I think the true lesson is to just try and be true to who you are. Be true to who you are and don't apologize for who you are to anyone.
I love that. You know, sometimes like there are moments where I, for one, get kind of embarrassed when people ask me, "Oh, what do you do?" And I say, "I'm an actress." "Oh, what movies or shows have you been in?" And it's just like, so that's why sometimes I kind of frame the job a bit like, oh, I'm a theater actress. I do a lot of experimental theater, stuff like that. And it's like, I'm kind of like apologizing for not being a certain, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I like to look of it as like not so much twisting the narrative, but like actually talking about your own successes instead, you know, to the common person, no, to the average person
To the
out there,
muggle. I'm
the
kidding.
muggle, the muggle. You know, like they probably see an actor's success as, oh, were you in this movie or were you in that movie, yada yada yada. But that doesn't mean they're right. That's, you know, that's their perspective. But being proud of your own successes. So I'm glad you turn around and you say, I'm a theater actor. I do a lot of experimental theater, because you're very good at that stuff and you should be proud of it. So I do the same. I turn around and I say, yeah, I do a lot of Shakespeare. I do a lot of Shakespeare roles and everything. I'm a member of a Shakespeare company in New York City, and I've also produced a lot of my own work. And you know, if you just say that with pride and you don't apologize for that, then oftentimes people respond by going, "Oh, that's awesome," you know. So yeah, so don't apologize, Dorothea.
I know, that's why I'm like, okay, let me take some valuable lessons from Joe.
But then they're never as impressed as when I say, I'll say I've done all this Shakespeare and everything, and then I'll say, oh, and I recently auditioned for Law and Order, and that's when they're like, oh wow,
Law and Order.
yeah, I didn't get it, but I auditioned for it.
I know. I've done a lot of auditions for Law and Order as well. Still haven't gotten. So
So
maybe this is our year, Joe.
this is our year.
If you get a role in Law and Order, you get like a badge of like, oh, you're truly now a New York performer.
100%. Now that's like a rite of passage. But I think even having an audition for it is probably a rite of passage as well.
That's true. The next question is, who inspires you to keep moving forward during the tough times? And I know that you mentioned that beginning of our interview that your mom is like your inspiration and everything. And I just wanted you to talk more about that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, my mum isn't my only inspiration. I've got lots of other inspirations as well. Like a lot of the people I work with, who I love working with, they still inspire me as well. Like Ensemble Shakespeare Company, who I work with right now, who I'm working with consistently. I love them so much. They've become like a family to me. So they always inspire me as well. But yeah, my mum has had a very interesting life, and she's always been a creative as well. She's coming up to her 70s now, and she's still out there creating. And I think, you know, my mum had different obstacles to what I had. I think that because of that, she's always like been there to support me amongst any obstacles I've had to. I'm writing a play about her right now. I'm writing a play about my parents. They started a face painting company called Staton in the 1980s. And I'm writing about that. My mum wrote a book, and I'm turning the book into that play about her. And I was reading this book, and I was reading about her childhood and her life and everything. And, you know, she was a teenager in the 1960s, 1960s, somewhere along that. She's going to kill me if I get that wrong. She tells a story about how when she was 18 years old, she started her own dance school. And, you know, she was 18 teaching kids younger than her how to dance, and she was making money doing that. one day her mother, my grandmother, took her to the job center where they had to get her employment papers all signed and ready. And the lady at the employment center said to my grandmother, "Who is your daughter going to work for?" And my grandmother said, "My daughter works for herself. She has her own business." And, this was 1960s, very different time. This woman said to my grandmother, "We don't encourage young ladies to have their own businesses." And my grandmother apparently said, "Well, it's about time you did."
I love that. I
You
love
know?
that.
So I think the support that my grandmother gave to my mum has passed down to me. And, I've now got similar stories like that with my mum where, I would get told off by my teachers at school because I was going off to audition for drama school all the time. I was missing school, go and audition for drama school. And I remember my teacher writing a note to my mum saying, "This is affecting his education." And my mum wrote back and said, no, this is his education, support him. And, so I think I've got lots of friends. I have an actor friend in Spain who when he told his dad that he wanted to be an actor, his dad beat him up. His dad like hurt him because of that. He went off and did it anyway, and he's doing really well, and I'm very proud of him. But I always think about how that could have been my life. But I was so lucky to have the complete opposite there. My mum knew I wanted to do this, and she gave me everything she could give me to keep doing this. So yes, if I was to quit now, I wouldn't just be letting myself down, I'd be letting her down too, which I know she'd disagree with, but she's definitely been a source of inspiration, because she was a woman who had to deal with people telling her that she can't do this all the time, and she did it, and she made really good money doing her creative stuff. And so I look up to that.
The fact that they really stood up to societal norms, I was like, yes,
yeah,
beautiful. Thank you for sharing those anecdotes. Let's see, is there a quote or mantra or saying that you live by?
No.
No.
No, I could be very pretentious and pull up a Shakespeare quote or an Oscar Wilde. I've definitely come across quotes that I love in the past. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. That's a great quote. Or no profit grows where no pleasure taken. That's a great quote by Shakespeare. Unfortunately, it's one of his worst plays, Taming of the Shrew.
But such a problematic show. Oh my goodness.
True. Great quote. Problematic show. Nah, just I guess just keep going. That's probably the quote. Just keep going.
To be honest, I actually would have pegged you to have already a pocket of Shakespearean quotes that are okay, these are the quotes that I live by. And I love that you were so real with me and you were like, no.
Reminds you of being in high school, and you're you have to write your essay, and what's the famous quote that you can start your essay by? I don't have any quote that I live by. Oh wait, no, this is a good one. I wouldn't say I live by this quote, but I think this is a good quote, for my life especially, and that is, I can't remember who said this, but it was something along the lines of, if you don't make any enemies in life, you are either boring or a coward. I think that's a good quote, because I can tell you I have got some enemies in this life.
I try not to make any enemies. I am so fearful of making enemies at all. So I think I'll need some of that Joe dust to give me some confidence.
This is another thing I probably learned from my mum as well, because my mum also has lots of enemies. If you do anything in this life, you're going to make enemies. That's just how it is. There's always going to be people who are either jealous of what you're doing, or jealous of the successes you have, or there are just going to be people who you don't work well with, or people who clash with you or something like that. And it's going to happen whether you like it or not. You're going to make some enemies. And again, that's why I love that quote so much, because all that means is that you're living life. you know? You're not staying at home all day, like not talking to anyone, and, you know, you're actually taking chances. I'm not afraid to say this on a podcast. I am banned from a theater in New York. There is a theater in Brooklyn that has banned me, and they've made it clear that I am banned. I'm not allowed to go into this theater at all. And you know what? I love that. I love that I'm banned. I love that people have come up to me and said, Joe, I'm doing this show. It's at this theater. And I say, sorry, I can't go. I'm not allowed.
Love that
If,
for
if
you.
nothing else, it gives you an interesting story.
It does. I'm so curious because that's such an icebreaker of like, what? You're banned from a theater in New York? What have you done?
I didn't do anything, but they still banned me. We don't have to go into
Okay,
it.
yeah, so yes, that's another story that
That's another story.
yes, if we have a paid subscription for this, maybe we'll have an episode on that.
That's right.
I'm kidding.
Subscribe to the Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon for the full story.
Okay. How would you describe a remarkable life?
What a philosophically loaded question. Oh, wow. You've definitely come up with some interesting questions to sort of ponder today, Dorothea. I think a remarkable life is it depends on who you are as a person, I would say. Because I know some people who are very happy with their lives, and they're very happy, you know, living in the same place their entire life, or living in the same place, you know, however long they want to, and who have worked the same job all their life, and they are very happy, and in their eyes that is remarkable. And I find that remarkable too, because if they've managed to do that and they've managed to stay happy, that is very, very remarkable. My own life has been very remarkable because I've lived in all these different places. I've met some great people. I've done some cool things. You can step it up and be like, Luther King had a remarkable life, you know. Obviously, something that made them well known or made them talked about a lot, that can be seen as remarkable. I think in a nutshell, a remarkable life is whatever you make it, whatever you decide it is, individually as a person.
What are your goals and dreams for the future?
I've always been someone who doesn't look too far ahead, if I'm completely honest. I tend to look forward in not so much like, where are you going to be in 10 years? I tend to look forward as to like, what am I going to do this year? If that makes sense. Because that's just who I am as a person. I know some people who like to set long-term goals, and that's great. I don't subscribe to that. I have goals that I want to do. Like, I want to be on Law and Order, for God's sake. Like, I want to get onto that show. Somehow it's going to happen. I think like a big goal of mine is to be able to get to a place in my career where I'm saying, okay, I am paying all my bills, all my rent, everything like that, just from acting or producing. I think that would be a great life goal of mine. Once I reach there, I can then think about what the next step is, but that's what I would like to get to, because I like my survival jobs. You know, I work as a tour guide, I work as a axe throwing instructor, and you know, all this stuff.
All this fun stuff.
Yeah, I teach axe throwing and knife throwing. You know, it's great. It's definitely a conversation starter. But I would definitely like to get to a place in my life where everything is being paid for, just doing like acting, either for film or theater or both, which is probably not going to happen for a long time, but that's okay. That's why the journey is the fun time, not the end.
No, I'm prophesizing that it's gonna happen very soon.
Thank you. Please send me that.
Okay, what impact do you want to do for the rest of the world?
I think we all want to make the world a little bit of a better place. Of us have that in us. And I think this question has been an interesting question for me, especially in 2025 and 2026, because of what is happening, especially in America, but not just in America, in other places too. And I've gone through the immigration process of being an immigrant in the USA and everything. And I've gone through how hard that is, and how, you know, stressful that is, and how even traumatic that can be for some people too. And so I've kind of made a secondary mission for myself to actually help out other immigrant artists in that sense. Doing this play festival with Riff Raff this August, where we have immigrant playwrights and stuff come in and like write different stories about immigration and all of that. And I'm working with this guy called Jay Michaels, going to help us publicize it. And he messaged me and he said, would you consider taking the word immigrant out of submission? I understand why you want it there, but some people might be turned off by it. And I just said to him, I'm so sorry, Jay. I have to be stubborn on this, because the word immigrant is not a bad word. It's not an evil word, and it's not a word that anyone should be scared of. It's a thing that people genuinely are, and people, including myself, it's what we identify as. So yeah, if I get in trouble for using the word immigrant, then I'm not the problem. The system is the problem. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and luckily he was like, yeah, I understand, that's fine, it was just a thought. So that's good. One way I would like to change the world in that sense is this is a thing that's been going on since the dawn of time, the word immigrant, or aliens, or foreigners, or what was it they called, barbarians, they used to call them, like back in like 1060s or whatever.
Common riffraff.
Common riffraff, exactly. I would love to be part of the message, the story that that actually changes people's views on that, if possible. So that's definitely one way that I'd want to go about that.
Wonderful. A lot of people have been really talking to, like, let's say, I've had the experience that whenever we apply for grants for some shows and whatnot, like, oh, you have to take out these words, and one of them is immigrant, or like, diversity is another. And it's like, why are these words considered bad? That's
so scared of them.
I know.
I've been brought up as an immigrant. I've been brought up in diverse cultures all my life. It turned out okay,
Just teach people how to throw axes and knives.
My mum told me a story of this was when Brexit happened in 2016 in England. My mum told me a story of going through the airport, going to England from Spain through the airport, and she got talking to a man, and this man was saying to her, oh, isn't it wonderful, this Brexit thing? It's wonderful. We're going to get all of the immigrants out. My mum said to him, well, actually, I'm an immigrant. I'm British, but I live in Spain. He said, oh, yeah, but you're British. And it's like, it's that kind of thinking that I think we need to fight against 100%.
Thank you. I think that was for me, I needed to hear those words too, because I don't know, the world can be a scary place, and a part of me was just like, okay, I need to tone it down. But actually, no, we should.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm guilty of that too. I've also thought about toning it down. Like, I've been posting a lot less on social media about this subject, just because there's a part of me that is genuinely like scared a little bit of the repercussions of that. But at the same time, if we do have a voice as immigrants, we do have a voice, we are capable of making change. And the No Kings protest and like all of that stuff that's been happening, like, it does give me hope that there are enough people out there that support us. And we have to remember, like, we always come back to this, whatever happens, we are here legally, and we worked our asses off to get here. We worked so hard, both financially and mentally and even physically probably as well, to actually be here, and we deserve to be here, and we shouldn't be scared of making people know that.
What advice would you give to someone who's going through some tough times?
The tough times will end. They will end. In the meantime, do what you need to do to get through them, but take comfort in the fact that nothing is ever set in stone like this forever. The tough times, they're going to come, they're going to go, and they're going to come back. They always will. That is the horrible thing about it. Trust in those around you who love you, who support you, and do what you need to do. If that means, if you're going through a tough time and it means you need to stay home and you need to cry and you need to, I don't know, eat a lot of ice cream and watch Bridgerton, I assume that's what people do, then do that, and don't apologize for that, but just keep looking forward to what you're going to do when it ends as well.
Oh, light at the end of the tunnel.
I mean, I'm no therapist, I'm no philosopher or anything. Like, I'm sure there are probably professionals out there who say, actually, this is probably better to do, but...
No, but I mean, you've had your set of challenges and you've gone through them. So I feel like anyone that I talk to is credible, since they've gone through life in general.
Absolutely. This is probably the one thing I disagree with my mother on. We've had some like arguments about this because my mum has gone through lots of tough times as well. Like so many tough times. She's lost a husband, she's lost two babies as well. So she's gone through like lots of stuff. My mum has the philosophy that if you put on a smile, everything will be okay. And I'm sort of like, Mum, that's not healthy. You do need to kind of deal with what you're going through. She has this idea that you can trick yourself, you can like charm yourself into being happier. And that's not what I believe. I believe that if you are sad, that is a completely normal thing. If you are angry, that is a completely normal thing. You have to go through those motions in order to get out on the other side.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just pushing things down. We've all seen Inside Out, the Pixar film. We know how important sadness is.
Yeah. No, really. And I really do think it's such a generation. Like it's the generation that people live in. They have very different ways of dealing with emotions. And I think because your mom and my mom are in the same generation, so I see the pattern there.
Also,
Yeah.
a cultural thing as well. I mean, I've come to America, I've realized like everyone is so open to the idea of therapy and like getting help for your mental health and everything. I wouldn't say in England they're completely the same.
Same with the Philippines. It's not a thing.
Should be, for
Yeah.
sure. You can learn a lot from that. But
We're actually down to our last question. If you could share one message with the world, and I know you've already shared a lot, but this is the ultimate question of all questions. What is that one message you want to share to the world?
one message that I want to share with the world, and especially with America, America needs to hear this. They need to understand this. Peanut butter is disgusting. I don't care what people say. Americans are obsessed with it. Every time you go into someone's house, you open the closet and there's a jar of peanut butter in there. It smells disgusting. It tastes disgusting. Let's get rid of the peanut butter and everyone will be happy. If we want to achieve world peace and world happiness, we need to get rid of the peanut butter, okay? We need to stop people spreading it on bananas. It's ridiculous. Get rid of the peanut butter. As soon as we get rid of the peanut butter, everything will be okay.
What would you exchange with the peanut butter then?
What would I exchange? Oh, that's a good question. Heinz baked beans. That's what we need. That's what America needs. Heinz baked beans. Americans need to get onto beans on toast. Less peanut butter, more beans on toast. That's what.
Oh my gosh.
I just love we went from that very deep conversation about immigrants.
I know. Wow, I am curious, like what people will say. Like maybe like down the line when you get like super famous and they unearth this episode and they hear you like poo-pooing on peanut butter. Oh man.
I just lost the entire audience. I was like, I had them with me. They were all like, yeah, this guy's really cool. And then that last question, they were like, fuck this guy.
No, you'll lose like your 6 million followers.
Everyone's gone now. Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm also a bit like scared to say this. I don't get the craze for peanut butter, but living in the US, I've learned how to appreciate it.
Nope. You need to be a real immigrant, Dorothea, and actually don't submit to their culture. Okay? Don't submit.
I know. It's peanut butter and coffee for me. Those are the two things that I've come to love. Well, okay, love is a strong word. Appreciate.
Yeah, I also hate coffee. I'm a tea drinker, obviously. I'm British.
I think that was a wonderful way to end this episode. So thank you so much, Joe, for being here with us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have joined you and woo!
All right.